So being fired is never fun. I've had so many jobs in my life, but I've only been fired from like two, and for the dumbest reason. Dumbest reasons, none of which were actually my fault, but because common sense isn't common. Now you're like, oh, I'm intrigued now, John. What? So Burger King. Uh, so I fill the vats. The fryers, and you fill them to a certain point. There's like you have the vat, and there's like this little dip, and there's like this little shelf type looking thing, and then you kind of fill the fryer up to that point. Um, and then obviously you put the basket in, it comes up a little more, but not too much. But there was this girl back there who wasn't even supposed to be back there, and in her wisdom, now keep in mind this chick is probably like 17 years old. She takes the basket, which is already heavy. She puts frozen chicken nuggets into the basket and then just chucks it into the hot fryer. There's a bit of a splashback, not like eruption, but speckles of oil. And then she complains like, "Oh, he's the one who filled the vat," and I get fired for that crap. Like, yes, I filled the vat. I filled it exactly where I'm supposed to fill it. You're the one who took the basket and chucked in a basket full of frozen chicken nuggets into hot oil. How is that my fault? So they're like, "Oh, we gotta let you go. You're just a hazard." I'm like, "What? I'm sorry. What?" Um, and then the second was at Dollar General. So if you work with registers, you'll know that it's pretty easy, especially with cards. If someone has a card, you're like, debit, credit, EBT, and they'll say, and then you press a button. You don't have to. No, you just press a button, and the machine does everything else. So couple came in. It was like $18 or so, and they put it on EBT. So I was like, debit, and they're like EBT. So you press the EBT button. Then the machine is the one that takes over. It's the one that does the work. So they swiped, and there was nothing happening. There was nothing happening on my side. There was nothing happening on their side. So I'm like, okay, go ahead and swipe again. I EBT again, because I mean, I even asked a lot of managers, and they all said they would have done the same thing. If it's not working on either side, you just have them swipe again. How many times have you been at a store where they're like, "Oh, no, just go ahead and swipe again"? But yeah, they swiped again, went through, they leave, they come back like a second later saying that it charged them twice. Again, I pressed a button. The machine is the one that does all the work. But because I was over by, or actually under technically, by, what was it? It was like 18 something, but of course it was doubled because of somehow charging them twice, which should have been impossible. Yep, I get fired for that. I mean, again, you're not sitting there. No. And I talked to a lot of managers, especially like the Dollar General down here, and they're like, yeah, that it should be impossible for them to get charged twice. There's things in place in the machine, in the register, in the system to prevent from charging twice from multiple swipes. It's not gonna like you swipe and it just charges up each and every time. Um, so they're like, that should have been impossible. So it sounds like it was a system error. I'm like, yeah, well, I got fired for that system error. But despite whether getting fired, even when they were saying, "Oh, you're a hazard" and this and that, when it was chicks throwing freaking, and she wasn't that was the first time. There was this kid, I think his name was Jeremy, I can't remember, but he did it all the time. I don't know if he had ADHD or something, but this dude, every single time he put it into the thing, he tossed it in, it would splash back, and he would get surprised and shocked that he's getting hit with drops of hot oil. It's like, dude, stop doing it then. You take the basket, you put it slowly down. You don't just chuck it in there. But regardless, I've never acted like this. This big-brained individual who seems to think that no one is ever going to see this. No future employer is ever going to see this.
Getting fired from the UPS store by this cuck loser, fucking coward, cuck loser, won't even fire me at the beginning of my shift. Waste.
The eyes, always a surefire way of knowing whether or not this the individual is stable or not. Clearly, by his reaction, one, I say he's not a very stable individual, and two, this is probably not his first outburst. There's Roxas. I guarantee this is not his first outburst at all.
Till the end of my shift, here he is, Darren the cuck fucking loser from 1892, who's a fucking loser, who doesn't know shit about running a business, and he's gonna let an alcoholic fat fuck named Joe fire somebody with 10 years of experience.
Just because you have 10 years of experience doesn't mean it's good experience. I mean, apparently it's an entry-level job that he's talking about. And sometimes some places just will keep you on because not a whole lot of people are just filling out for that position. You know? So, yeah, you have 10 years. Doesn't mean anything. You know? There are some companies that it's like, oh, well, he doesn't have that great of experience. He's not that great, but he's a nice person. And so we keep him around because he tries. So, it's kind of like that. And I would kind of play the rest of it, but he does say the N-word. Not with a, he drops the hard R. Now, I don't know this person's political affiliation. Quite frankly, don't care. But if he's the side of love and tolerance, boy, he certainly dropped that hard R with relative ease.
Next door and won't tell shit to my coworkers because he's a cuck fucking loser coward, just like Darren, the cuck fucking loser coward loser fucking cunt.
So this dude is how old, and he's having a hissy fit on the internet or on video for what reason? Does he think that, is he hoping that this one clip is going to give him enough money to last for the rest of his life? Oh wow, I hit it big with this one, and he doesn't have, what's the goal here? Because now all that's going to happen is people are going to save the video, and they're going to send this video to any employer that this man might have in the future. Was it worth it, guy? And people can say, oh, well, he had to show up. They fired him, but he had to work. It's like, yeah. I mean, most times they're not going to fire you until after your shift. I mean, what would you rather do? Get up 6 o'clock in the morning, go to work, and then be fired as soon as you get there? Or would you like to make your money? Now, UPS, so put it in this context. If he had just gotten up, gone to work, he would have wasted gas, to get there, and he would have gotten nothing for his trouble. Now, we're going to say $14 because I looked up $14, $15 minimum wage for this sort of position at UPS. So, UPS, minimum wage, $14 an hour times, I'm assuming, let's just say 8 hours a day. There you go. You could either show up and make nothing, spend your gas to get there and make nothing in return, or you can at least make $112 for the day. Which times, assuming 5 days a week, $560 for the week, times 4 for the month. So if it was at the end of the month, you still made your $2,200. I mean, of course, tax, I'm just taking it at that value. But while neither situation is good, I'd rather be able to work my hours than just show up, get ready for work, go to work, and get there only to be told, oh yeah, you're fired. I'm especially for people who drive, that's gas that you're wasting. Gas isn't cheap right now. So yeah, being able to make your $100+ for the day, so that way you can at least kind of pay for that gas that you wasted. Yeah, it sounds a lot more appealing than, oh yeah, nice, you're here early. Okay, well, you're fired. Don't even bother clocking in, you're fired. I mean, the lesser of two evils here. But this guy thinks like he's really sticking it to the man. What all he's doing is like he's showing how unhinged he is, and this dude's just like standing there with his like hands in his pockets. Imagine giving your whole day for a whole shift just to be canned at the end. He's probably been warned many times. Yeah, I seriously doubt this is his first time. And also, I love it. He does the meme. He does the meme.
Getting fired from the...
Where's the... He does the meme. Just replace that with the thing of what? KFC with the Beyond Chicken or whatever. But he does the meme, which I think is hilarious. But yeah, I don't think this was his first time. I'd be really surprised if this dude, it was his first time doing this. 10 years. I seriously doubt. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, the last time I left the factory, when in June, I mean, I swear like a sailor. I swear enough to make a sailor blush, but I don't get violent and I don't insult the manager. Basically, for me, I left the factory. I was there for I worked there for several years, but I had been back for 3 years. I worked with the baler, and the baler just, when I first got back 3 years ago, the baler wasn't working at all, really. The thing was going down slower. And as soon as I got back, I noticed, and I'm like, hey, the machine's broken. They checked it out after several months and said, oh, the cylinder is broken. You know, the hydraulic fluid's leaking out all over the fucking place. You want to know how long it took them to fix it? Almost 3 years. And then when it finally does get fixed, I'm finally able to do my job again correctly. And then all of a sudden, it was last March. Yeah, I think it was in March, last March. I noticed that every time I would do a bale, there was like, I'm spending like maybe 6 minutes total between each crush, or 2 minutes between each crush, 6 minutes total for the bale. You know, you pull the grate down, you press the button, and the thing's supposed to go down and crush. But instead, I pulled it down, pressed it, nothing happens. Lift up the grate, pull it down to make sure it's closed all the way, because if it's the grate's not all the way down, the machine's not going to start. So I make sure to pull it down all the way, press, nothing happens. Lift it back up, pull it down a little harder, press, nothing happens. And then it got to a point where, you know, I'm telling my boss, I'm like, hey, the machine's not working. And this happened all the way up till June. And I'm telling her about it, and she's like, oh, well, they said they went down in April and fixed it. I'm like, clearly not. I'm showing you a video of it not working. Clearly they didn't fix it. And then like the very next day I'm there, she's down there bitching and complaining about that. Oh, well, you know, they don't think you're doing enough down here, and the lab's sitting there. It's like, I'm working with a machine that's not working properly. I'm here for 4 hours and I'm getting 7 bales done. So do not sit here and act like I'm not doing anything. I mean, it's like I outright said, I was like, I'm having to dick around with the baler more times than not. I mean, 5 bales a day, just bare minimum 5 bales a day. 6 minutes wasted with that bale. 6 times 5, that's 30 freaking minutes being wasted just trying to get the thing to work. I can get a lot done in 30 minutes. The lab that they were complaining about, had I had 30 minutes to waste, I could have easily done it. But no, instead I gotta... So, you know, and I kind of lost it, because it's like, 1, they're clearly not listening to me. 2, this is the same place that took almost 3 years to fix the machine. And even when it was broken, they're still complaining that stuff isn't being done. It's like, you see the hydraulic fluid leaking on the floor, right? You do see that. That's why we have cat litter in front of the baler, because hydraulic fluid is leaking out of it. The thing's going down instead of going down quicker. It's just like, so they're the ones not doing their job, but I'm the one who gets accused of not doing theirs. Like, again, I was there for 4 hours, 7 big bales. Within 7 hours, I was able to do 20 bales, which that was like a one-time, not a one-time thing, but because I had done it the first time I was there. But 20 bales in 7 hours. The higher ups, when they saw me after I had done it, they had stopped to say how impressed they were. Everyone's like, "How did you manage to do that?" So I did my job, but it's like with Dollar General. You go in there and there's only one register open. And if that register messes up, you're pretty much screwed. You're pretty much screwed. The other one is for the manager. The manager's not there to operate it. What are you gonna do? You can't do anything. You have a long line, and your register messes up. The thing you need to work no longer functions, and it's like, oh, what do I do now? I've already rung this person up, and what am I supposed to do? So when the thing you need to do your job isn't working, again, the fact that I got done so much, despite the fact that the machine wasn't working, but I'm still getting accused of not doing my job. So when I was talking to my boss, yeah, I was swearing up a storm. I was swearing like a sailor. Like I said, enough to make a sailor blush. But I never got violent, and I never insulted her. I never called her names. Nope, I just swore. Like you do when you get frustrated and pissed off. And also the first thing I do is not to think, oh gee, maybe I should record this. But yeah, like getting mad and getting upset and everything, and swearing, that's natural. But what's different is when you go beyond that and then you start recording, you start calling your manager a fucking cuck, and other words. And because again, the internet's forever. This dude's going to try to get hired somewhere else, and people are going to be like, oh, maybe your potential employer should know about your habits. But yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it. This guy definitely thinking that 10 years of, we're all expendable. Seriously, if it's an entry level job, we're expendable. Anyone can walk in and do the job. You're not some kind of manager. You're not a district manager. You're a regular employee. You're easily replaced. Or in this case, possibly not, because maybe some people weren't filling out for this particular position. But bro could have saved that hard R. It's not like he didn't get paid for the hours he worked. Exactly. Isn't that mean he still gets paid for 8 to 10 hours he worked though? Otherwise, he'd be out of a job and no money for those 8 hours, right? New meme template activated. Wait, wouldn't it be better to get fired at the end of a shift rather than the beginning? Yeah, exactly. Everyone after bro said, yeah, not with no, hard R. Everyone after bro drop mid crash out. What is this fruitcake bitch about? What was nice enough to give his dumbass one more day of pay? What? That's grimy as fuck, though. Don't let me work 8 something hours, then let me go when the day is over. No. I mean, not surprised. Not surprised. At least he didn't get fired right before the start of a shift and wasting the gas. I'd rather be fired after doing 8 hours. Yeah. I wonder why this dude got fired. Seems like he's an upstanding citizen. But, yeah, and he can say 10 years, and that doesn't mean anything. We don't know what he did to get fired. And quite frankly, it could have been like, the way he's overreacting. Wouldn't be surprised if it was mostly his fault. Um, so, but yeah, there's a right way, and you definitely don't record yourself doing this. You don't. Because now people have saved it, and you're just risking your employment with other companies or whatever, because people are going to be like, oh, do you want this person working for you? So, but anyway, let me know about your firing stories, and if you got fired for a stupid reason, let me know what that reason was. Because, like I said, for me, pretty stupid reasons. It's like, once they swipe the card, I have no control over it. I pressed a button that said EBT. I don't control the machine. So, but also the manager who I even brought it up to him, and he's like, "Oh no, don't worry, you won't get in trouble. It happens to me all the time." And then when the district manager tells him to fire me, I'm like, "You told him, right?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like, so either the manager didn't tell the district manager, or he did tell the district manager, and the district manager just doesn't give a crap. I mean, it could be both. Either way. So, but anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.